Hello all, welcome to Teacher at Home. Today class we are going to learn the 8th chapter of the social science, that is towards the Gangetic plain. BC 2000, the Eastern European province from Poland to Middle East Asia was inhabited by pastoralists. The increase in population and the scarcity of green pastures for their herd forced them to move away to far off places. They traveled to the west, east, south in groups. They took along their cattle and tamed horses as well. During the course of their journey, they met people of diverse types, fought with them, and mingled with them. One group reached Europe. The group that traveled south reached the northwest frontier of India through Iran and Afghanistan. They are known as Aryans. For Aryans, they were traveled from south, reached north. Okay, through Iran and Afghanistan. The Aryans were pastoralist. Increase in population forced them to travel to other lands. Go through the table given below. Certain words similar in meaning and pronunciations from different languages are listed. English, father, Latin pater, Greek Peter, Sanskrit Peter, mother, matter, meter, matter. Notice the similarity in pronunciation and meaning. This similarity points to the common heritage of these languages. The languages spoken by the people who inhabited various parts of Europe and Asia are regarded as the Indo-European languages. Among them, the people who spoke Sanskrit came to be called as Aryans. The first literary work in Sanskrit it is the Rig Veda. Certain references about the migration of the Aryans can be noticed in the Rig Veda. Look at the conversation given below. Conversation between Sarama and Pani. Sarama. Respected Pani, I am a messenger of Lord Indra. He has sent me to you. Pani. Sarama. For what purpose have you come here? How did you reach here? Sarama. I crossed the river to get here. You possess a lot of cows. I desire to take them away. Pani. How did you succeed in swimming across the river Rasa at night? Sarama. At first I was afraid to swim at night, but I am protected by the gods. So I was able to swim across the river Rasa. That is from Rig Veda. This conversation taken from the Rig Veda is between Sarama, the hound of Lord Indra, and the local inhabitants of this region, Panikal. The conversation is about the request placed by the Aryans to have possessions of the cattle reared by the people of the area. About 3,500 years ago, Aryans arrived at the Sapta Sindhu region in the northwestern part of India. What assisted them most in the journey were the horses and the chariots pulled by the horses. The horse skeletons and the remnants of the chariots, the path traveled by the Aryans are evidences for their arrival. Life of people. We get information regarding the life of the people in the Sapta Sindhu region from the Rig Veda. What were the peculiarities of the life of the people there? Let's explore it further. The Sapta Sindhu, the area including river Saraswati, together with river Sindhu and her tributaries, Jalam, Chenab, Ravi, Bias and Sutlej is regarded as the Sapta Sindhu region. Aryans belong to different tribes. Each tribe comprised of many families. The eldest member of the tribe was selected as the head of the tribe. There were different tribal assemblies to assist the tribal heads. These assemblies were known as Vidada, Sabha and Samiti. The main occupations of the Aryans was cattle rearing and farming. They fought battles for pastoral grounds and cattle. Gavishti. The battles fought by the Aryans for cattle and pastoral grounds are known as Gavishti. The priests who conducted sacrifices, that is yagas, to ensure success in battles, and the tribal heads who led the Aryans in war amassed more and more wealth. Thus, control over wealth came to these people. The society was stratified in the Rig Vedic period on the basis of occupation. Let us see what they are. They are the priests, soldiers, and common people. Rig Vedic society. During their period, the belief of the Aryans was simple and based on nature worship. Their main deity was Lord Indra. They also worshipped other gods, namely Agni, Varuna, Maruti, and Surya. They also undertook various rituals and special prayers for increasing their cattle wealth. Towards the Gangetic plain, by BC 1000, the Aryans started moving towards the Gangetic plain. What might be the reason for this? Increase in population, and also what? The plains are where the agriculture can improve. From the Sapta Sindhu region, the Aryans migrated to the areas adjoining the Gangetic plains by clearing the forest. Tools made of iron made them a lot in this. We get information regarding the life of the Aryans from 1000 to 600 BCE from later Vedas, namely Atharva Vedas, Samaveda, and Yajurveda. There are archaeological evidences for the advancement made by the Aryans towards the east. Important among them are the grey earthenwares and iron tools found from different parts of the Uttar Pradesh. Equipments made up of iron. Historians have discovered remains of iron implements used by people in the Gangetic plain, especially from the art Aranjikara in the western part of Uttar Pradesh, Jodhpur in Rajasthan, and Bhagwanpur in Haryana. Towards an agrarian society, the Aryans who reached the Gangetic plain cleared the forest using iron implements. They started farming in the fields using iron plowshares. With the expansion of agriculture, the Aryans were transferred into settled society. The place where the nomadic people started to settle permanently came to be known as Janapada. The head of the tribe became the king. Kingship became hereditary. The importance of the assemblies of each tribe diminished. The farmers started the system of giving part of their yield as tax to the king in return for protecting agricultural land. It was known as Bali and Baga. The society was stratified into four divisions. We can find out them in the given table. That is society in the Gangetic plain, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Great changes occurred in beliefs and customs during this period. Lord Indra and Agni lost their prominence. The gods like Prajapati and Vishnu became more and more important. Simple rituals and practices gave way to complicated and complex ways of worship. Means of worship and religious practices, including the sacrifice of animals, became costly. The priest became more powerful. I have to write this from the text of rearing the cattle. Rise of cities. The fertility of the soil and the use of iron made the Gangetic plain a better agricultural land. This facilitated surplus production and also the growth of exchange centers. This exchange center lately developed into cities. People started to settle down in cities for trade. Okay, among such cities, the most prominent were Rajagriha, Sravasti, Vaishali, Benaras, Kushingara, and Kausambi. Trade routes connecting the cities came into existence. A new social category thus grew up. Okay, thus grew up in cities on the basis of trade and handicrafts. Coins began to be used for the exchange of goods. Coins were made in early times, were given in the picture. Observe the picture and write. Okay, coins in the Gangetic plain. Formation of new ideas. The social changes stated above influenced the thoughts of the people. It was during the 6th century BCE that these were more prominent. What factors might have prompted these changes? The increase of yagas and the animal sacrifice in association with them adversely affected the progress of agriculture. With an increase in rituals and sacrifices, the priests started amassing wealth and thereby exerted supremacy over others. The growth of trade and cities, Vaishyas became wealthy. Though they were wealthy, they were placed in a lower position in the society. Against the social structure, Various streams of thoughts emerged in the northeastern region of India. Followers of the streams of thought were known as Ramanas. Of these, two streams of thoughts have been that have acquired acceptability in society and influenced people heavily at Buddhism and Jainism. The Ajivikas and Charvakas also belong to the category of Ramanas. Jainism and Buddhism. It was a spring season. The prince was standing in the garden, enjoying the beauty of the nature. Over there, the snow-capped mountains stand tall. The prince stood there, all engrossed by the splendor of the nature. He then noticed a flock of wild swans flying. Wow, what a beauty! Suddenly, one among the swans fell down in front of the prince. An arrow had perched on his body. The prince ran to it and laid it on his lap. He gently removed the arrow, plucked leaves from the medicinal plants in the garden, applied its juice on the wounds. The love and care of the prince soothed the swan. It was then that the Devadatta, the cousin of the prince, approached him. He shouted, "Return to me, the swan that I shot." For this the prince answered, "Killing the innocent creature is a sin. All living beings on earth have a right to live freely in this world. No one is nobody's honor." When the argument worsened, the dispute was taken to the royal court. On hearing the pleas raised by both sides, the king said, "The savior owns more right than the slayer. So the prince is its honor." The prince later let the swans free. Courtesy The Light of Asia by Edwin Arnold. The story tells us the need to be compassionate to all living beings. This concept is called ahimsa. The prince in the story is none other than Sri Buddha, who propagated the concept of ahimsa. Sri Buddha founded Buddhism. I do not know the mystery of God, but I know the mystery of man. That is Sri Buddha. The words given above throw light on the philosophy and outlook of Buddha. What all can you make out from this? He gave importance to human beings. Philosophy of Buddhism was very much tuned with the agrarian economic setup that had grown up in 6th century. BCE, the most important of the tenets was ahimsa. Sri Buddha gave importance to one's own karma. He said that life is full of miseries and that the cause of all suffering was human desire. He stated that prayers and rituals or practices of any kind would never put an end to his suffering. Hence, rather than ritualistic practices, Buddha gave importance to the moral lives of people. Buddhism spread fast within and outside India. The Tripitakas, written in Pali language, comprise the main tenets of Buddhism. Buddhism has made many contributions to the Indian culture. Administrative system of the Sanghas, which were formed by spreading Buddhism, helped the growth of democratic and value-oriented awareness in the society. For spreading Buddhism, many caves, chaityas, viharas, and pillars were built. There were evidences for the progress in the field of art and architecture. Buddhism also played a major role in promoting trade and cultural relations between India and neighboring countries. Countries like Myanmar, Japan, China, Sri Lanka, Java, Sumatra became the main centers of Buddhism. The Buddhist viharas played an important role in the progress of education in India. Universities of Nalanda, Takshashila, and Vikramashila were key centers of education and Buddhist teachings. Gradually, Buddhism started to decline in its motherland. Buddhist teaching and ideologies failed to receive much support from the later rulers. Moreover, Buddhism lost its grandeur when it was split into two sects, the Mahayana and Hinayana. The revival of Vedic religion adversely affected the progress of Buddhism. Vardhamana Mahavira, a contemporary of Sri Buddha, propagated Jainism. According to the benefits of the Jains, there are 24 Tirthankaras. Mahavira was the 24th Tirthankara. Jainism also laid great importance on ahimsa. The teachings of Jainism condemned all sorts of harm meted to humans or animals or living beings. As in Buddhism, Jainism was also against Vedic practices and caste system. Jainism brought radical changes in the Indian society. Mahavira advised the people to lead right life by following the principle of right belief, right knowledge, and right action. The Jain saints were abstained from telling lies, killing, stealing, and acquiring wealth. They followed celibacy in life. Jainism encouraged constructions of stone pillars, cave temples, and statues. The best example for this is the statue of Gomadeshwar in Shravanabangala in Karnataka. The separation of the followers of Jainism into Svedambaras and Digambaras resulted in the decline of the religion. The common feature of both Buddhism and Jainism was that they used the language of the common man, Pali and Prakrit, for propagating their ideologies. Examine the contributions of Buddhism and Jainism in this society and culture. Given below are the pictures of some places associated with Sri Buddha and Mahavira. Importance of the places and prepare a note of them. Vaishali, Bodh Gaya, Kushinagar, Lumbini, Pavapuri and Saranath. Mahajanapadas. Look at the picture. It is the depiction of a relief panel on a pillar in a Buddhist monastery in Barhat, Madhya Pradesh. What are the scenes engraved in the pillar? Can you find them? A royal procession. The king stands in front of the two trees with his right hand raised. The king and the queen stand in obeisance up left. The king kneels down at a throne with the Buddha's footprints. These are the different depictions of Ajatashatru, the ruler of Magadha, the visiting Buddha. Magadha was one of the 16 Mahajanapadas existed in ancient India. Let us have a look into the growth of Mahaganapadas. That is Janasangha. Groups of tribes or tribal heads are called Janasangha. This system of administration sustains unity based on public decisions. If there was any difference of opinion, it was left on the opinion of the public. Administration was based on democratic principles. We have already read about the transition from pastoral life to an agrarian one. With the development of agriculture, people began to settle down in a particular place. The places where people placed their foot or where the tribe placed its foothold came to be known as Janapada. Such Janapadas were known according to the tribes that had settled there. Thus the people started to show their loyalty not only on the tribes but also on the places where they had settled. Some of the Janapadas combined together to form the Mahaganapadas. There were 16 such Mahaganapadas in the Indian subcontinent. The Mahajanapadas were either ruled by kings or by Janasanghas. Regions lying close to the Himalayan foothills had more of Janasanghas ruling them, whereas most of the Mahajanapadas in the Gangetic plain were ruled under the rule of kings. And here is a map given about Mahajanapadas. Most powerful among the Mahajanapadas was Magadha. What might be the reason for the supremacy? Let's examine. Rich deposits of iron ore enabled the making of weapons and farming equipments. Ganga and her tributaries made Magadha a fertile. Ganga and its tributaries made Magadha a fertile land. Trees from nearby forests in the Gangetic plains were used by making big boats to facilitate trade. Made use of elephants in battles. Progress in agriculture and commerce, water transportation, powerful kingship and highly efficient military. The position of Magadha. The main reason for the success of Magadha is its geographical location. Magadha shares its boundaries with the river Ganga in the north, the river Sun in the west, the Vindhya mountains in the south, and the river Chamba in the east. Rajagriha was the first capital of Magadha and it was protected and surrounded more or less like a fort by 5 hills. Find out the name of main rulers of Magadha and their clans from the list given below. Bimbisara, Ajatashatru, Haryana dynasty. Shishunagam, Kalashogam, Shishunaga dynasty. Padmanathan, Nanda dynasty. Foreign relations, an animal that carries on its forehead that entire grandeur of the forest, those who tame it and sit on the top, a land from where woolen clothes were weaved out from trees, people who use substances sweeter than honey, a land with no slaves, and a place where people reap golden harvest without hard work, and much more. That is Alexander. Alexander was the ruler of the Macedonia in Greece. He extended the Greek empire by defending defeating many Persian kings. He was a student of the famous Greek philosopher and thinker Aristotle. Alexander was interested in geography and history and hence recorded the historicity of the places he had captured and also their geographical settings. These are the sites that Alexander, the ruler of the Macedonia in Greece, saw when he came to attack India in BC 327. Attack India to capture all religions under the Persian Empire emperor to spread Greek culture. Before the invention of Alexander, the northwestern region of India were conquered by the Persian ruler Cyrus. The knowledge of the wealth of India, the lack of unity among the rulers in the northwestern region had prompted him to attack India. Following Cyrus, Darius one attacked India and took hold of Sindh and Punjab. Let us look into the results of invention of the Persians and Macedonia. Persia. Trade relation between Persia and India increased. Trade relation with Europe were strengthened. A new script named Kharoshti was introduced. New trade routes, both land and sea, developed, influenced Indian culture. Geographical knowledge increased. Persian gold coins were circulated in India. Unification of regions in the northwestern frontiers of India took place. The philosophers and scholars in India got ample encouragement from the Persians. Greek architecture was introduced in India towards the Gangetic plains. Sapta Sindhu region that is divided into Rigveda and pastoral life, Gangetic value, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda, and also agriculture, trade and cities. New ideas, Jainism, Mahavira, Buddhism, Sri Buddha, Mahajanapadas, Magadha, foreign relations that is Persia and Macedonia. Summary: the people who spoke the Indo-European language Sanskrit came to be known as Aryans. The main occupation of the Aryans was cattle rearing and their means of income were cattle. They followed a societal pattern of living in tribes. The use of iron weapons brought Aryans to the Gangetic plain. Agriculture became the main means of income and occupation. Society exists in the four strata, namely Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Kingship began during the age. New ideas sprang up in the 6th century BCE. 16 Mahajanapadas were formed in different parts of the Indian subcontinent. A new power structure with Magadha and his center came into existence. New trade relations started with Persians and Macedonians. So, this finished the reading of this chapter. You also read this chapter 2 or 3 times as you will understood everything. Thank you.